5 years ago, Thanos erased half of the population of the universe. But the people of this planet brought everyone back with a snap of a finger. The sudden return of the population provided the necessary energy for the emergence to begin.
How long do we have?
7 days.
We're Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago to protect humans from the deviants.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, or all the other terrible things throughout history?
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless deviants are involved.
By who?
We need to find the others.
I haven't seen some of them for centuries.
Hi.
Hello.
This is what the end of the world looks like. At least we have front row seats.
You know what's never saved the planet? Your sarcasm.
We have loved these people since the day we arrived. When you love something, you protect it.
You can't protect. Any of them.
I bet you've built the perfect safe house. Well, what's this even made of? Vibranium?
Fall collection. IKEA.
Hello.
Boy,
How
I'm
are we?
glad I didn't watch that trailer before I saw the movie.
Yeah, sorry. I
So I'm like, where was that film?
oh, I like that. Yes, it's Peach Jill.
I've changed. I've transformed.
Actually, you know what? Here, let's just go and look at that
Oh!
beautiful hair for a little bit of long. Looking good there, Jillaroo.
Thank you.
Looking so good.
Change is as good as a holiday.
See, there is a lot of love for Jill's hair
Thanks,
right
guys.
now. Yeah, all Jill all the time. You know what? Let's do this like that because you know what? You don't need me. It's all Jill all the time. I'll just start throwing things at Jill.
Sure.
Yeah.
When can I give my hot take on how this movie should have gone?
Oh,
do we start now or do we wait?
You know what? I have a feeling that there's going to be a bunch of interesting hot takes.
Let me tell you how I would have written this movie.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot to be said. It's an interesting one. How was your week, Jill? How are you? Are you all good?
I'm good. Yes.
Yeah.
It's Friday. Going to do an escape room on Sunday. I might go and see Bond tomorrow. So
dang,
yeah.
dang, dang, dang. Nice. You've got a weekend ahead of you. That sounds amazing.
Should be fun.
I decided I was going to just pull the pin and watch Dune.
Ooh.
Yes. And
or how as you doing?
Exactly. as Dion and I were saying today, like I got to hang out with Dion today, which was a lovely thing. And we've decided that we're going to call it Dune. Just Dune.
Yeah. What you doing in my swamp?
Hey, look at you. What you doing over there? And we have some very, very interesting thoughts about that too. So that's something to keep an eye out for. That'll be in December. But yes, Dune. But not Cara Dune, because that's a different thing altogether. and we certainly won't be watching her. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking
No.
about the Eternals.
Mm.
The eternally long Eternals.
It's long.
It was long. And
But-
Rob, is Dune something that recommend to anyone that knows nothing about the franchise? Yeah, go on, give it a go.
Look, if you like pretty movies and you've seen what was Arrival,
Yeah.
then I mean it's going to be visually something similar to that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, though I will warn you, it is the first half of a story, and it is very, very definitely just the first half.
So they're doing a sequel?
They are, yeah, they've gotten
okay.
greenlit,
Nice.
which was a dangerous move to make. But yeah, they are making the sequel, and that should be starting production sometime next year. So yeah,
Nice.
yes. Anyway, yes, Casper, 2.5 hours of
240 if you stay
Yeah.
for the credits.
which we
Which
are
you
all
probably
staying for the
should.
credits.
Probably
Yeah,
should.
yeah.
God,
yeah,
I can't wait to
absolutely.
talk about that. That was the best part of the movie. Oh, that's a terrible thing to say.
Yeah, harsh,
that 1 minute and
harsh.
a half at the end of the movie was the best part.
Okay, so I feel like I'm getting a bit of an idea already as to where your opinions lie there, Jillaro.
I didn't hate it. It was just
Right.
the most boring movie in the entire MCU, and that's coming from someone that really disliked Iron Man 3.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough, actually. Like I mean, Iron Man 3 has the problem of being a messy
Full of
kind
plot
of
holes.
Yeah, a lot of just guff. There's a lot of fart assing around in
Yeah.
Iron Man 3. Whereas this one really is long, tedious, boring.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, there's no fluff. They're telling story all the time, but it's just so hard to give enough character development for 10 people in a 2.5 hour film.
Especially when, at least one or two of those characters are operating with massive secrets, which actively stop you from getting to know them better.
Yeah.
And to me, that's sort of a big problem with it. But anyway, that's something we will get to a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So, what is Eternals about? I mean, I like that the synopsis is the shortest part of the film.
Okay.
The Eternals, a race of immortal beings with superhuman powers who have secretly lived on Earth for thousands of years, reunite to battle the evil deviants. That's it. That's synopsis. And I really feel like that's not giving anything near enough detail to what we're talking about.
Extremely underrated.
Here. Yeah. So who are our characters? Who are the Eternals? And have you read any of the comics, Jill? Are you
I haven't. So I was very unfamiliar with the Eternals, and I got to say, the first trailer that they dropped for it, because I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know anything about these people. Like, this could be fun. This would be interesting. New people to get to love. And then the first trailer just rubbed me the wrong way, and it was when Rob Stark said, I can lead the Avengers. And I'm like, stay in your lane. I don't even know who you are yet. You cannot be making jokes. And I'm like, excuse me, we've only just buried Tony, and I don't even know if Steve is alive anymore. So just
let's just not be throwing shade here.
So after that first trailer, I was a bit not looking forward to the actual movie. I was like, I'm not racing to see this one.
See, I had that thing of going, I feel like maybe it's just not selling itself well. I looked at the trailers and I was kind of like, I think there could be a really interesting art film in there. And wouldn't it be fascinating if they attempted something really new and different here and went, okay, let's go in a totally different direction for the Marvel universe, and went, let's do something arty. Let's,
I think they succeeded. Like, it was a beautiful movie. I thought it was all very, very arty looking. And what was the movie that Chloe Zhao won for at the Oscars? Like,
I think it was Nomadland.
Okay, so I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
I mean, from seeing the trailers for that film, like, she's very good at what she does. She's a great director. It was a very beautiful movie, but it's so hard to tell a story about people we know nothing about, get us to love them by the end of this film, and be invested in what's happening.
Especially, and this has been my problem with it right from the get-go, that it didn't feel to me like a natural kind of formation of a team of interesting characters that we're meeting and growing along the way. It felt to me like a bunch of name actors and faces that we recognize, then alongside a few others that you don't necessarily recognize or haven't seen, and yeah, how do you engage with it when it's like, oh, that's somebody who I've never seen before, and Angelina Jolie, and
got opinions about Ange in this movie. But I just want to say that, like, the internet's opinion, and I have to agree with Karina that she's just mentioned, it would have worked better as a Disney Plus series. Let's take an episode to explore each of these characters and then bring them together at the end for a big screen movie where we could have seen, you know, the entire plot of what was happening here. Give us all the backstory of, like, them throughout history, and give us a chance to love these people and understand, you know, the character development that they've obviously had over 7,000 years that we only got tiny glimpses of in the movie.
I think that's a real problem for it, is this extraordinary time span that they're talking about. Like, we are quite literally talking about the entirety of human recorded history. And funnily enough, like, originally it was meant to be 60 or more thousand, and they kind of wound it back a little bit to make it 7,000. My guess is to just so there wasn't 5,000 years of them sitting around, or 30,000 years of them sitting around going doo, 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 doo. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like there was this huge history that we were expected to just go along with and go, oh yeah, you were there for all of it.
I mean, I can for certain say that I'm on board with a few of the characters. That is only because the actors had way more charisma than anybody else.
Okay, so who were your ones that you dug?
Of course, I really loved Kingo, because he, like, Kumail had, like, the best screen presence. He was cracking jokes. He was charismatic. He was popping. I liked Makari, but she didn't get enough story. I'm like, where's she been the whole time? It was like the sickest speedster. And just side note, the speed effects that they've done for this movie is better than anything DC has ever done for The Flash.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like she's just standing on a treadmill doing this while the background zooms. Like, it was phenomenal.
Yeah. And I mean, it didn't have the same feeling of, like, the Quicksilver stuff. Like, I like that they found a new way to do super speed and do it well.
It was nice to kind of see it from her perspective as well, to be like in the shoes of a speedster. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed Kingo and Makari the most. And
I think, I mean, Makari is wonderful. I also love that a deaf actress, you know, using sign language, and apparently has increased research and uptake of sign language by 250% in terms of online searches.
Amazing.
How fucking cool is that?
It's very cool.
So you've got those two characters, but then you've kind of got a whole bunch of others that you're trying
not
to.
Even the main characters, which is so bad.
And Makari gets sidelined for a chunk of the film.
A huge chunk of it. But okay, Gemma Chan. She's beautiful. She's been amazing in so many other movies, including Captain Marvel, where she was playing a Kree soldier and, like, was great in that.
I missed that.
But here she had zero chemistry. I'm like, okay, this...
Was that because she was also working against somebody who I think of as some kind of weird charisma black hole.
Okay, but I loved Richard Madden in Game of Thrones. Okay, he was brilliant in Game of Thrones. I was devastated when he was murdered in Game of Thrones. Like, I full body sobbed
Spoilers.
that my mum said to me, "What the fuck's the matter with you?" And I'm like, my family just died. But honestly, he was nothing but a pretty face in this movie. He was
Yeah.
just so blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Karina says in the chat, like
Yeah,
she's
no
great.
romantic chemistry either.
No.
And I don't think that was for lack of trying. I just feel like she was extremely, I don't know, cold.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, she was not being emotional, but yeah, wet blanket. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, just, I don't know. She wasn't vibing with anything. It didn't feel like that.
No. And like I love that everybody has opinions of this in the chat.
Yeah.
Kit Harington is very up and down with his old charisma.
It was okay in this movie.
He knows about a sword. There's a part of me that actually feels sorry for him because I feel like he has signed up to be a character. And there's so much potential for where that character will go.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this isn't the film where he gets to do any of that shit.
But it'll come.
Fuck, I hope so. Yeah.
But we'll talk about that when we get to spoilers.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did you enjoy about it?
I mean, shit.
Wow. Shit.
I liked the cinematography.
Yes.
I liked the sets. I thought it was incredible how they replicated that huge gate that guards the Gardens of Babylon, because that is an exact replica of the actual gate. It is so freaking accurate. They've actually got the gate in a museum at the moment, and it is all blue and gold. It's just like fabulous. And so the imaginings of what the ancient world looked like in this movie to me were like pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked the going back and forth through time. It was nice to like get the touchstones of like who these people were as they've sort of like lived through our civilization and seen us as a culture develop. That stuff was kind of cool, but I don't know, just it all felt a little bit like, it's okay. There's nothing grabbed me, nothing spoke to me and said, oh my God, get invested in this. Like, are you looking at this? There was just a lot of standing around and being stoic.
So so much stoicism and so much like, and I'm there are so many things that I'm kind of disappointed by, like them not taking a few more risks and going in a few more challenging ideas and ways, and having fucking Rob Stark just be Scottish and stoic and like, Cersei, I love you, and my
I'm like, do you know?
Or
is that just words coming out of your mouth?
Honestly, that's what I thought. For a lot of this, I felt like I'm watching actors deliver really clunky dialogue and fucking struggling. Like
the fucking wedding scene.
Oh, Jesus.
This is a thing? I'm like, I'm not feeling any joy in this moment.
Nope.
No joy.
None whatsoever. The best character in it? The best character by far for the whole movie that I actually got invested in and really enjoyed hanging out with. Kingo's, fucking footman.
Oh, he's valet.
Yes. Kingo's valet is by far the best character in the whole film.
Which just sucks because he's supposed to be like the human connection for these people and like trying to relate with what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did these people live with us for 7,000 years and not develop any emotions?
Well, and I mean, maybe that is a part of the whole thing that we're, like when you get into spoiler territory, like we can talk
Mm.
about that. There may be some reasons why.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about Gilgamesh, who is also awesome, but
Yeah.
didn't get enough to do. And like the
No.
very few scenes that he was in, he absolutely nailed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt like there was so much time spent on these lead characters of Cersei and Icarus and to a sort of Ajax, but not really. I mean, she's sidelined pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You know,
But it was so clear, like, who she was to these people. She was like the leader / mother role to them. So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, as you see her go throughout, she's the conduit to, how do you say it? Was it Aramesh?
Arashim?
Arashim.
Arashim. Yeah, that guy, him.
It's like, okay, well, she talks to him and I can get her vibe. Like, I can see that she cares about, the rest of the Eternals, but also humanity. And she's so, like, caring when Druig has this moment of, like, we should just stop them from fighting all the time because why do you want to watch them kill each other? And she's like, no, you don't understand. You have to let them grow. It's like we're here as interferers, but we can't meddle too much. You just got to let them do their thing. They're kids. They got to crawl
learn
before they can walk and run. And I'm like, yeah, I get your maternal instinct. That's who you are. And she didn't have to be in the film for the rest of it for me to understand that about her.
No, I mean, she was there for a reason, and she is and I mean, if you go and do your backwards reading on it and everything, she is the oldest of them. She has been, alive for millions of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down an interesting conversational path with a guy on Twitter about this, who runs Indigicon, which is the Indigenous pop culture convention.
Yes.
And we're talking about it, and he got very, very kind of cagey at one point, like where Gilgamesh and Thena, ended up in Central Australia, which is cool, great, awesome. But the artwork that Thena was producing, he was like, that's terrifyingly close to Central Australian rock art.
Yes, and even in the end credits, the wall art with like the 6 eyes for Arashim in the cave, I'm like, shit, they've like just copied Aboriginal cave paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, there was like that's maybe careful.
Yeah, I know. Walked a line.
Walked a fucking tight line on that one. But I did have that thought of like, if you were going to have a character in the Eternals who could have been Indigenous, like that would have been a really interesting thing to either add or change one of the characters to.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was like mixed in this film. There was a lot of diversity.
Absolutely.
And I mean, there was a lot of like, I mean, Salma is like South American. That's like, Latina are somewhat an Indigenous culture.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, they're all kind of meant to be representative of a particular group of people on Earth. So you do get so the original character of Ajax was kind of meant to be the Aztec gods.
Right. Okay.
So her outfit and everything, originally a male character in the comics, and
I think even Makari was male too.
Yeah, most of them were. So Makari is Mercury.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so they've all got sort of these parallels to existing gods. So obviously Athena, and she's Greek, or
I mean, it totally makes sense that they'd at one point be worshipped as gods, and it would bleed into our culture. So I mean, I think that stuff's cool.
It's cool, and I was like, yeah, but then wouldn't it have also been cool to, like, if Ajax had been Aboriginal, in that had been around for longer than anyone else on the planet, basically. But anyway, that's sort of a what if, how would you do it differently, all that kind of stuff. I've not read the comics, but there's obviously a lot And there's
Mhm.
lots of different runs of them. But the one that I'm actually really keen to check out is the one from 2006, which was by Neil Gaiman.
Ooh, okay.
Which, by the sounds of it, this borrowed fairly heavily from.
Okay.
Like some of the big concepts and the big reveals and everything like that hadn't really been explored in the previous stuff, but in the game and run, they went, okay, let's rework this, let's do something new. And that's kind of what has been touched on here. So look,
you mean like in terms of them being just sentient machines?
yeah,
That
but
stuff?
also no, that stuff I think sort of been around for a while, but
Oh, okay.
the stuff that really to talk about, we kind of need to talk in Spoiler Town about.
Okay.
So yeah, look,
We'll
I
save
agree.
it.
I think it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous film, and I love that there are so many things that like the Bollywood dance number, fucking
It's so much fun.
so fun, beautiful.
Yeah.
And I wanted, to be honest, I kind of wanted the film to be more of that and less of the traditional Marvel CGI hitting things. I mean, I know it has to be because it's an action film.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I felt like it was missing something when we got to the big action stuff.
Yeah. There was a moment that was very brief in the film and was severed quite quickly into any sort of development. And that was the deviants.
Fuck. Yeah.
So we have this thing, this whole setup is that they've come to Earth to defeat the deviants.
That's their entire reason for existing.
That's is to fight them. Is it spoilers to say why they fight the deviants? I mean,
yeah, it probably is because.
Okay, so there's a moment though where the deviants seem to be evolving and becoming more human-like in appearance and being able to speak instead of just roar and grunt like animals. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we're done with that. Let's move on.
It's such a bizarre thing to essentially have your main bad guys for the film be left completely underdeveloped.
Yeah,
and
then totally overshadowed by what the actual real like antagonist plot was supposed to be.
Yeah, but not just overshadowed, forgotten, like
Yeah.
dropped from the fucking plot entirely, and you're like, okay, cool, what? Okay. And yes, Rob, yeah, a lot of building up, very quick finish.
Yeah, you kind of get to that point, you're like, oh, but are we going to find out what that was about?
Nah, sorry. And in the comics, like that character of that deviant is quite a important character and has a relationship with Thena and stuff like that. Which is vaguely hinted at in the film, kind of.
Which was also really creepy, can I just say?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
And
you can say
not that it was, and not that the only creepy thing about it was that he was played by Bill Skarsgård, who's creepy dude that you go to for creepy characters.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, let's get the guy from it. Off you go. Yep, good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird.
It was like, I feel like there were a lot of competing ideas that were trying really hard to be the main plot here.
Yeah.
And like with, as you say, was it 11 main characters or more?
Do you know that it was supposed to be 12?
Wow.
And they cut down to 10?
Jesus. What were they? Who were the other two characters?
I don't know. But you know what? Probably could have been cut down to 8.
Okay,
6.
so if there were characters that you didn't want, like who would you lose?
I get rid of Druid.
Yeah.
And I'd get rid of probably Fastos and Sprite.
Oh, but I liked Fastos.
I liked Fastos too. Can we get a shout out for the first queer character in fucking
know,
MCU?
It's about fucking time. Yay.
Jesus Christ. And a male-on-male kiss in a movie in the
I
MCU.
And I am very happy that Marvel actually, Marvel/Disney, whatever, didn't back down. So this is not being screened in UAE and a few other places, I believe.
Yes.
Correct. Because they insisted that a cut be made, removing the male and male kiss. And it's like,
and yes, Casper first sex scene, although you really only get to see some shoulders.
Are we calling that a sex scene?
Unfortunately.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Righto, because that's not
very tepid.
Oh God. Actually, that's a pretty good word for the whole film.
Oh yes.
It is a tepid film.
Yeah.
It's just a bit, occasionally has moments where there's some fighting and stuff, but it never gets particularly exciting. There's this sort of underplot of going, oh, what if this, whatever, never gets that interesting.
And even when the secret villain reveal happens, you're just kind of like, well, kind of saw that coming.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also don't really care.
Yes, a sex scene under a wet blanket.
Two wet blankets having sex.
Sorry, the sound effect in my head is just...
Quinny, no, don't go there.
I feel like they're wet blankets, but they're probably wet woolen blankets. Yeah, not nice.
No,
anyway,
more of that.
We had a bunch of people who have, yes, Rob, moist. A lot of people have had very strong opinions on this. So
I wish
Trav,
I had nicer things to say about it, honestly.
Me too.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on board with it, and I was really ready to, say, fuck the haters. This is actually, doing something new and different and challenging, and I'm into that.
It was new, it was different, and it was a challenge to put together.
Yeah.
It was not successful.
No. And
in our opinions.
And you know what? Other people...
There are people out there that have, been raving about it, and I'm glad that they liked it. I want people to like this movie. But it just didn't have me coming out of the cinema saying, I want to see it again. And that's the indication for me of a good movie, is if I want to go back and watch it again.
Absolutely. Am I, today is the day that Shang-Chi drops on Disney+.
And I'm going to go and watch it straight after this.
Exactly. You're excited for that. I'm into that. That's fucking cool.
And I've been binging Kim's Convenience because I'm just in love with Simu now.
I had a wonderful thing of watching the some of the outtakes, the bloopers from that, and that is some wholesome shit. That is
such a good show.
So good. Oh no, this is from Shang-Chi. I was looking at the
I can't wait for the bloopers. I can't wait.
They're out and about, and they're very good. Now, I'm just wondering, do we want to go to a clip and then talk spoilers and then bring other people in for their opinions?
Please.
Okie dokie. Then I'd better find a clip. Because that's a thing that I was like, oh yeah, I need to do that while we're talking. But I realized that you know what?
Oh my God, ASCII. Okay, so let's just talk about Disney Plus Day real quick.
Okay.
It starts for us at midnight tonight. So if you guys want to stay up and watch it live on Disney Plus, you can.
So what is involved in...
It's a huge bunch of announcements of stuff coming out. It's trailers, it's scoops, it's new series dropping. Yeah, there's a heap of stuff happening.
Right.
But, yeah.
Okay, well that's...
I'm hoping we maybe get a little sneak peek of some moving footage of Obi-Wan.
Oh.
That would be nice.
Yeah, no, I would enjoy that. I'd enjoy that a lot.
Right. Oh, but I believe they're also dropping the assembled episode for Shang-Chi. So
Oh,
get
fuck
to
yes.
watch how it's made.
Okay, this is cool. I like this. I like a day
Yeah.
where we can all get on board and go, yay. Okay, we have a clip. We're going to have a look at a clip. Then we're going to come back. We're going to talk spoilers. And then you guys can come on in and let us know. And then we'll do a big rating at the end. I think.
Cool.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
want everybody's opinion on this. So let's look at some fighty, bashy, stabby stuff. Yay. Yeah.
Okay, so everyone was like, "You didn't rate it," but it's also Friday, and we kind of don't do that on Friday. So
We will do some ratings at
do we
the
want to
end.
like throw some numbers at it? I don't know.
I mean, I'm happy to throw numbers at it. But I want to hear other people's ratings and stuff as well.
Can I say, after looking at that clip, I totally forgot. Like the designs for the Deviants,
Thank you.
I thought were very cool.
Yep.
I was not mad about the costumes though. That's the one thing that let this down. I did not find the costumes in any way cool.
No.
But the design elements of like how they interface with Arasham or with each other or how their powers are formed. All of that beautiful gold stuff. Do you know what it reminded me of? The fucking Time Lord language. You know how it's all, like,
absolutely.
circles and stuff that like overlap and stuff?
Yeah, it is very much Gallifreyan.
Gallifreyan, thank you. I totally forgot what their race was called.
Yeah.
I've been like racking my brain for 2 days.
There you go. Karina's like Gallifreyan. Everyone's like Gallifreyan, you fucking nerd.
Hey, shut up. I love Doctor Who. I just couldn't remember.
I have to tell you,
I
I want to say very quickly, I'm really enjoying the new series.
Oh my god, I still haven't seen it yet.
Two episodes are out.
Yeah. I think I haven't even watched the last season, to be honest. So anyway, I got to get back onto that. But
yeah.
All right,
what? This one's good. This one's good fun.
You know what? If I had to give it a number, oh fuck no, I can't commit to a number.
If I had to give it a number, I wouldn't.
I don't want to sound like a bitch, but I'm like 58.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Marvel. I'm sorry, Marvel. But there's like nothing from this that's like, I want to buy the toy. I want the Happy Meal. Like, there's nothing. Like, there's very few things that I had nice to say about it. Everything else was, a complaint. My favorite parts were the fucking end credit scenes.
Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful when Gemma turned a red bus into flower petals. That was pretty. I'm like, but this is all very superficial stuff.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. I've just realized that we are in
Karina,
spoiler section.
It was fine.
It was fine.
It was fine.
So Karina's gone low on 45. I'm actually going to sit right on the middle and go 50.
Ooh, indifference. I like it.
Honestly, that was my problem with it. I was like, yep, that was a film. It didn't make me angry. I didn't think, fuck, this is terrible. I did think occasionally, Jesus Christ, it needed some work on its dialogue. Like,
give me a 60-minute episode of Kingo's Bollywood history.
Yep.
I'm there for it. Give
me a 60-minute
episode of like what Makari did besides read and steal artifacts. Give me a 60-minute episode about Druig's like moral conflictions. Give me a 60-minute episode on why the fuck I should give a shit about Icarus. Because honestly, all he was giving me was like, wish Superman.
Yeah. Yes.
The
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Superman you get from Wish.
The Superman you get from Wish, but also without any of the charm or any of the
Yeah, that's why
like.
he's from Wish.
Oh yeah, good point. Sorry. Yeah, it was like yes, he could fly. Yes, he can do lasers and stuff like that. But also, he was extraordinarily uninteresting. Like just like.
And now that we're in spoilers,
yeah,
when he had the
okay.
heel turn, still not interesting.
I know. I was like, hang on, this is the point. I mean, you almost forgive him if he's boring as batshit for most of the film,
Yeah.
because you know that, okay, he's hiding a big secret, and that's that he's going to have a heel turn, whatever. But in this one, he still stayed boring.
Yeah. And then, like, he's trying to, like, poor Richard Madden, trying to deliver emotion, and it was just not landing.
No.
And then flying off into the sun, that fucker's not dead. He's coming back.
No. But also, yeah, like that.
I was like, I'm so sad. I'm going to go fly into the sun and kill myself.
Yeah. Karina made the point that the fact that Batman and Superman are mentioned, I don't think that means that they exist in the MCU. I think that it's that they are
just cultural, like pop culture entities. They're not people.
Yeah, it's like I've seen movies with Batman in it. I've seen,
I've read a comic book with Superman. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You.
But yeah, like I mean, it's back in Spider-Man 1 where
Didn't
Aunt
they
May
even,
is like, you do too much. You're not Superman, you know.
Yeah, and like I'm pretty sure even in Shazam they referenced Marvel.
Yeah.
I think it's gone the other way as well, but like in the reference of like comic books and stuff.
That sounds
I feel like
right.
they might have,
So I mean, and I think that makes sense that in each other's universe there is the others as comics, not as people. So okay, let's address the fucking idiot. Not
the
idiot.
Celestial in the room.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going with it. Okay, the thing that shit me the most about that, it's the same fucking plot as Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes.
What the fuck? Really?
Yes.
You couldn't come up with something more kind of impressive, new, different, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, here's how I would have redone this movie.
Yes.
I
tell
would
us.
have started in Infinity War. I would have started with Thanos not just, destroying half of the universe to, save resources, but to stop Celestials being born because he's a fucking psycho. Can we, Jill's new script. Can we acknowledge the fact that Thanos is in fact an Eternal from Titan?
Yeah.
And therefore, the destruction of his planet was because of the Celestials. And therefore, maybe he wants to stop half of life in the whole universe so that the energy of people are not feeding the Celestials to give birth to them, because he doesn't want the same shit to happen to other planets that already happened to Titan.
See, this is where the ideas sit in these huge, big concepts, and why
it wouldn't have been that hard to just retweak the story a little bit in Infinity War. You could still keep the Avengers in the dark about like the whole X factor that was going to pop up in this movie.
Yeah, I think that would have made so much more sense.
Genocide, Karina, but that's because he's, a crazy person.
He's a mad
sociopath. Yeah.
Yeah. But he has at least
he
got a
wouldn't
reason.
have been wrong. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He has a better reason for it than just like, oh, it's all about the resources, guys. And it's like, yeah, we've had this argument before. Use the glove to make more resources.
Yeah.
Whereas the Celestial being born thing kind of like gives it some logic.
Yeah. And there's also another part of that does kind of annoy me a little bit. This concept that, okay, big spoilers, there is a Celestial in the middle of the planet Earth. and it has been feeding on the energy of all of the human beings on Earth. It needs to be basically eat all of the people so that it can be born somehow. I don't really know, but its birth, if you look at the size of it and everything, I'm like, not actually that big.
Yeah, I'm like, so is it being born like this from nothing?
Yeah.
Because it can't hatch from the Earth.
Yeah.
That big.
Yeah. If it did, the whole fucking Earth would be basically destroyed.
Yeah, it was as if it was just generating as it was coming out of the sea.
Okay. Rob's saying it was a baby, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but Rob, even if the head is out, the rest of the body is still in. So like, how does it fit in the Earth?
Yeah. And yeah.
Unless the body inside the Earth is not there and it only exists once it comes out.
I don't know.
Not even a fetal celestial would fit inside, I think.
Yeah, and I did have that thing of like, oh, okay, if you are going to do that, if you are going
to TARDIS.
Yeah, yes, it is bigger than the inside. If you are going to do that thing of having the like the Earth built around this seed that is a celestial, like, then I mean, yes, the danger is to the entire planet, but it didn't feel like it. It felt like,
and suspension of disbelief here, but like, if the seed was gestating inside the Earth and it started off very small, that baby's got to go somewhere, right? So like, why wasn't the Earth fucked millennia ago? Because the growing baby, where's it pushing everything else out to?
I don't know.
And that's where we have to, suspend the disbelief, because it was very unbelievable.
Okay. So, sorry, there's a bunch of comments coming out here, and there's which did foster us.
Arisham's PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, I enjoyed that. And I will say, if there's one fucking thing I am sick of, and I wish that we could come up with something better for all of our Marvel content, is if we're going to tell you, big history, if we're going to do exposition, can we not do it with tableaus? Can we not do it with carvings? Can we not do it with fucking sand building shit or whatever? I'm just like, oh, for God's sake. I mean, even as much as I love Shang-Chi, there was a bit of the old, here's a tableau that explains everything in a beautiful carved wood.
Yeah, and the water and stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how else you do it, but the Loki ending where it's like, here, have some small tableaus that explain my history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, so the death of Ajak and the one time that we see Icarus attempt emotion, and I was like, I don't buy it.
No.
And this whole thing that the whatchamacallem, the deviants, the only reason that they exist is to essentially take down the population of Earth? Or?
They were supposed to remove the apex predators from a planet so that the rest of life could flourish, which was alluded to in the opening sequence of talking about apex predators in school.
Yes. Oh, right. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
But they went awry because the Celestials had a bug in the program. I don't fucking know. But like, I don't know. It's also like the plot hole of the Mad Weary. And it's like, oh, okay, we're just going to like have this little device here that's going to cause a problem because now that we reset them so many times, their old memories are flooding. I'm like, how? You took the memories out. They're fucking robots. You downloaded that shit. It should be gone.
And I mean, I don't mind. But to me, that's got a little bit of Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, Rob, yes.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
Celestials built their own Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I imagine that there's a Celestial out there somewhere just going, I mean, you're so excited thinking about whether you could. You never thought about it, whether you should. There's
Yes.
a giant Celestial Goldblum.
Oh my God. The World According to Jeff Goldblum has a season 2 and it's coming out as well.
Yay!
I forgot.
God.
Anyway, yay, Disney Plus Day.
Yeah. So were the Deviants the Cane Beetle and the Eternals the Cane Toads? Yeah, kind of.
That's a good way of putting it.
Like, yeah, you introduce one thing to try and solve a problem.
Yep.
And
that is exactly what they are.
Yeah. Oh man, I just like, there are so
There's
many
just so
parts
many
about it that are
concepts.
interesting.
Yeah.
And yet somehow the film is less interesting than the sum of all of its parts.
Yep.
And that's criminal.
They wrote that ending 9 different ways. That was
What?
the one they chose. Yes. I watched a video today. And it said they had 9 different ways that movie could have ended.
And of all of the flavors, you chose salty. Like, what the fuck?
Wow.
That, I mean,
anyway, look,
Anyway.
I hope wherever this direction is leading us, it is more fulfilling than what we got in this movie.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Can we talk about the end credit stuff?
Yes,
Just
absolutely.
before some people join us.
Yeah, I've just put a link in the chat, so feel free to click on that link and come on in. But
Harry Styles.
I didn't even know who the fuck that was. I was
Oh
just
my
like,
God, Quinny!
I am an
also
old
your
person.
pet peeve, Patton Oswalt making another appearance.
Like, I like Patton Oswalt, but how many fucking times can the man exist in the Marvel universe?
I know.
I
But
was
yeah,
like,
oh my God.
as
Harry
some
Styles.
creepy little troll guy, that I was just like,
an elf. I believe he's an elf.
Well, yes. And then you
Yeah.
also get the extra double fucking weird of Harry Styles, who they introduce as his comic book name, Star Fox. And I'm like,
Yeah.
are we in the Corneria system? Do
You're
I have to
playing
do a
the
barrel roll?
N64 right now?
Exactly.
Yes,
Very,
but like
very-
there's another amazing plot point. It's like, great. So he's the brother of Thanos, yes, because he's an Eternal. Why didn't we touch on Thanos being an Eternal?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm the brother of Thanos. Cool. What's with your chin?
Yeah, why don't you
have
look
the
like
purple
him?
Chin?
You can't just ask people why they're not purple, Quinny.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, we have somebody who's joined us. Oh, what were you going to say?
Hey,
Jill?
Rob. I
Hey,
was
Rob.
just going to say also the second end credit scene where Jon Snow gets his blade. Do you all know whose voice that was at the end?
Yeah.
Yes, Quinny, do you know who that was?
I do, but also I did have that thing of going, that's very cool, but like, we don't, like, if you don't know who
Where
it
is
is,
it
it's
going?
just a voice.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's a teaser.
It's a teaser,
stinger.
but I mean, if they'd actually shown Mahershala Ali,
yeah,
then I would have been like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. But I'm guessing that's where we're going to see the Black Knight show up.
I was just too busy looking at the ebony blade being on the big screen. Sorry. Dark Knight fan here.
Okay, so
Also, that ebony blade looks a lot like it has like symbiote juice on it, or is that just what it does?
In the movie, yeah, okay.
You didn't think
Don't
so?
know yet.
Oh, it totally looked like it. I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
so Rob, tell us about the Black Knight. What is it about the Black Knight that you like so much?
Well, when I first started reading Marvel's Avengers, he was basically there. So I started reading Avengers back in the early 90s. And around about 92 or so, he became one of the main Avengers, along with Cersei. And that's where you got a lot of the Eternals storyline, that some of which was touched on in the movie, like the Mad Weary and, yeah, a few other small bits and pieces here and there. But the sword has links to King Arthur and Merlin. There's supposed to be a long heritage list of Black Knights throughout the ages, like the Phantom. And, yeah, Dane Whitman is supposed to be the most current one. The one before him, which was his uncle, which got a brief mention in the movie, was supposed to be a villain.
Okay.
He was, in the comics, he was part of the Masters of Evil who fought the Avengers. So there's all that there as well.
Okay. So I don't know about you, but I personally felt like Dane Whitman or Kit Harington kind of got shafted in this film.
He did. I was expecting him. I was expecting him to be the token human along the way, to be our point of view character.
Yeah.
And then he was dismissed off. And then we got Kingu's valet for a little bit, and then he was dismissed off. And then we saw Phastos' husband, and he was dismissed off.
Yeah. I mean, he could have been a really good, point of tension throughout the movie as well because of his relationship with Cersei, and then Icarus coming back. I'm like, that could have made me more invested if this relationship was in trouble.
Yeah, but I think everyone would be going, come on, Jon Snow and buddy, was it Robb Stark? Get on with it. Fight.
I do think that probably would have perhaps at least made that relationship that as much as I hate a love triangle, it would have at least given us a bit of drama. Like, it's like, okay, Cersei, you've been hanging out with this guy. Now he's disappeared. Now you're hanging out with Icarus again. Okay. There's no like, oh, I want to go back to my loving boyfriend or anything. But okay, Rob, your rating of 75 tells me that you probably enjoyed this more than we did. What did you like about it?
I could see potential. I could see, okay, it's not a bad movie by far. It's just not the most successful Marvel movie. So that puts it in a different category. This isn't Fantastic Four. This isn't X-Men 3. This is, Marvel trying to do something different, which, to be honest, they've always done that from the beginning. They've always tried to be something different and take chances. They took chances with Robert Downey Jr. They took chances by putting Hemsworth and Hiddleston at the top of a Thor movie. They took their chances with the first Avengers movie. They took their chances with James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy. So this was another experiment risk. Didn't quite pay off the way the others did. But
I hope it will down the line, though.
Oh, yeah. It's done the heavy lifting of putting in a lot of exposition, so future movies don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's interesting because it's doing that thing that Loki did in a way as well, of expanding the universe. Like, we've gone through that the first three phases, and it's been all building up to the Infinity Stones, and we're like, oh, okay, that's the scope that we're working here. And then, first episode of Loki, it's like, actually, that ain't shit. And then this one is like, actually, even they ain't shit. We're dealing with, things that destroy planets and with things that create entire civilizations and universes. And you're like,
well, the Eternals were never a really easy concept to get your head around in the comics in the first place. By the time they popped up in the Marvel comics, you already had Wakanda, Atlanteans, Inhumans, Savage Land, Asgardians, Olympians, mutants, Avengers. There was all sorts of hidden worlds and kingdoms already discovered in the Marvel comics. So you bring in one more, and it's like, well, how do they fit in? Well, okay, we'll just take it back to the beginning. In a land before space and time, there was the Celestials, and then they got the Eternals. And it was always going to be a very heady concept to get to fit into a comic book. There's pages and pages of exposition. Anytime the Eternals turn up, you can expect at least 2 pages of exposition before any more of the story progresses. So to put it into a movie, you can expect at least half that movie to be exposition.
So would you then agree with Jill's concept that it perhaps, and Karina's concept as well, that it would have worked better to have like an episode, like a 10-episode series?
Yeah,
that
I think
introduce each of the Eternals, and then you get the film.
That's just it. Before we got the Avengers movies, we had about 5 different solo movies which introduced all the characters. So by the time the Avengers came around, it's like, right, hit the ground running. Here we go. We've got a new Bruce Banner. Deal with it, but we're going.
Yeah, I feel like they just were dealing with these guys as like a lump sum. They're like, oh, they're the Eternals, but they're a thing. You know,
Yeah,
they're not the individual parts. They're the one thing.
Yeah,
you know
you
what
got
it reminded me a bit of? Justice League. That Justice League film. Yeah, where it's like, okay, now we need to put everybody together.
Yes.
Everybody,
This
come on.
10-headed character that you're just trying to differentiate all the different aspects of. You're trying to understand what's going on, everybody's motivations, everybody's backstory, and it's just eating up a lot of the screen time. You just want them to get to the deviants, defeat the deviants, and then get on and find out what's going on with the Celestials.
Yeah,
But you're just
I think the
so
TV
focused
series could have been, you know, exploring each character and also, you know, fighting the deviants along the way. So then when we get to a big movie, we're dealing with, you know, the ultimate.
Yes, David Kay is the Celestial. That was awesome.
Yes, we did enjoy that. Karina, how are you?
Karina!
Hi.
So I want to see you and Rob fight, because I think you.
The highest score versus the lowest score.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, fight. I'll put you in, like, I'll get you real close. Yeah, there you go. Oh, hang on. This is close as we get.
That border.
Oh, dear.
I did give it a rough score. I definitely did give it a rough score. Yeah. But a lot of that stemmed from the fact that there was way more that I didn't like than what I did. So, and it really isn't that the basis of how we rate with a periodic table of awesome, is like we deduct points. So I just
kept 100.
kept just going down. So yeah, I mean, I will concede that there was things that I did like, but there wasn't enough of those things, and there wasn't more things that made me like it. So yes, it's visually pretty. Yes, some of the designs are really cool. I really liked how they did some of the fight sequences. Like, the fight sequences were cool. You know, like, there were moments where you'd see like individual Eternal characters like teaming up and using their powers together to defeat the deviants, which I thought was really cool. You know, it was kind of like, you know, that scene in Avengers where you see like Thor using Iron Man's, like, you know, arc reactor blast to like cut through all of the Chitauri. Like, we got that in Avengers, and we get that again in Eternals. Like, you see the team ups, and that's really cool. But, you know, the story was just so bland. I just got bored. And I literally had a moment where I checked my watch.
I did a couple of times, honestly.
And I just sat there going, I shouldn't be doing this. I should not be looking at my watch. I should be so entertained that I'm not looking at the time.
Yeah. Because like going in knowing it's such a long movie, I was like, oh, how far in are we? Like, just look at the phone, cheeky. I'm like, oh shit, an hour still? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I am deducting points for Harry Styles joining the MCU. No.
What kind of stunt casting was that?
We are going to run out of celebrities. They're just throwing everyone in.
Some other pretty boy actor they could have used. Someone who can actually act.
I got into a bit of an argument with my partner actually about the whole Harry Styles thing, because he was like, but he was good in Dunkirk. And I'm like, was he though?
I haven't seen Dunkirk.
Yeah, I think that bit of stunt casting is actually, like, one of the things I brought up earlier that I didn't like about the film was that we've got, you know, you've got Rob Stark and Angelina Jolie and Kit Harington, and I suppose they're the most obvious ones. And to me, they didn't feel like they were somebody that I believed was a part of this universe. Like,
felt a bit gimmicky.
It felt like stunt casting. And so to then have Harry Styles wander in at the end, I was like, really? Oh.
Can I just say, though, points for Patton Oswalt being the voice of Pip the Troll. That was awesome.
Okay, because I don't know Pip the Troll, so I was like,
okay. In the comics, Pip the Troll is closely associated with the likes of Adam Warlock and Gamora and Drax and the whole Infinity thing. So basically, he's kind of rounding out the whole Infinity Watch team slowly being put together in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's talks of Adam Warlock being in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So
he's already cast and
Yeah.
he's on set.
So be on the lookout to see more of Pip the Troll in Guardians of the Galaxy then.
Okay, interesting.
Hmm.
I just thought it was a weird thing of like, oh, Patton Oswalt again. Good. Okay.
Again.
How much Patton do we need?
Never enough.
Yeah. No, okay. I think one of the biggest problems I had with it was the deviance, like that. So
That whole discarded storyline, like 3/4 of the way through a fucking movie.
Yeah.
There was so much
And
potential there with Crow. Crow is one of the few named deviants that survived throughout the whole Marvel comics. To bring him into the cinematic universe and then just cut him off at the knees like that.
Oh,
yeah.
They could have brought him back as a recurring villain.
His creepy little cheek touch thing on Angie.
He would have been so good as a recurring adversary for the Eternals and for Thena, and just to have him pulled off like that was just such a waste.
See, make him the ultimate villain in the TV series.
Yes.
Someone they're working up to defeat, and then move on to the Celestial storyline.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I feel like this is it's a story that's wanting to operate on such a grand scale that it's begging to have a longer story, but you can't have a fucking longer film.
The other issue I had with the Deviants was they incorporated that whole they've absorbed the abilities of the Eternals, and then they just did nothing with that either. Like what? Like no, that's cool. Like that's cool. That makes them harder to defeat. So, like, why did you drop that? Like, that was interesting.
But also, if you this one that is supposedly, has absorbed the power of 3 Eternals and everything, but can still be defeated by going chip, chop, chip.
Yeah.
Cool.
But like not just absorbing the powers, but like helping it evolve and become more sentient, communicate, and then they just abandoned it.
Yeah.
No, because when he tapped into Thena, he took away her madness, so she was able to think clearly. He was distracted by the madness, and she was able to cut him down. That's how that worked.
I would have liked that
But
perhaps clearer.
I know. I know. It's one of those things we have to go away and think about. But you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to get the full concept there on the screen.
Yeah.
Like I was frustrated by that. I'm like, that's interesting, and you let that go.
Yeah. And I mean, do any of us think that Icarus is dead? I hope he is.
I want him to be.
This version of Icarus is dead.
Good point. Yes, good point.
Throw that wet blanket into the sun.
And take his girlfriend with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Okay. No. Yeah. So I mean, we could get another. Would it still be Richard Madden? Please say no.
I hope not. Give us somebody else.
Well, I mean, when Gemma was like in that scene looking at all the other versions of Cersei, they all had her face.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But there was something else I just thought of. What the fuck was it?
Was it Deviant related?
I don't think so. Oh, it was the... Guess what? I've still got a little bit of power left. How about I just make you a human?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's...
Right. Just, no.
Yeah, I just turned this huge...
Can we throw her into the sun too, please?
Into a rock, but I've still got power to turn you into a human.
So... I mean, I understand it because if you're going to do a sequel, you can't have the actor age. But I got to say, the characters that really didn't do much for me, Sprite.
Yep.
I wanted her to be cool, but I don't know. And Druig, once again, interesting concept for a character, but just I feel like he was left on the cutting room floor. Him and Makari.
I was hoping for Sprite to be a little bit more Loki-ish and impish and mischievous, and I was hoping for Druig to be a bit more of a red herring type of villain. He's still a little bit devious and a little bit got his own agenda. He's not a villain, but he's the red herring villain of the plot. If you
and that would have made a lot of sense.
It's interesting that you say that, Rob, because I actually thought that. I legitimately thought he was a bit red herring villain. And I got that impression. For me, anyway, that's what it felt like to me. So
Because he had that creepy mental power where he could, make people do what he wanted.
Yeah, which I think is a good villainous power, because you can kind of get the idea of he's controlling people, but
Yes.
all the way through you
Yeah,
kind of got the
good.
I mean, apart from the fact that his thing looked very culty. his little place, I was like, oh,
his little Amazonian village.
Yeah, his Kool-Aid powers.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some Jonestown shit going on there, and I was like, oh no, I don't like this at all.
Very, very David Koresh, very Waco, Texas.
Yeah. And I also did just have that thing of going, okay, did we need to, like, I don't know what Druig's background is in the comics, what gods or anything he's meant to kind of represent, but why we had a Scotsman and an Irishman, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
The
I don't know. I thought, is Druig supposed to sound like Druid?
I thought that's where it was probably going. Yeah. I mean, it's diversity, but I feel like, there could have, I wanted more diversity. I felt like for a show that was so much about diversity, to have so many of the leads be so white.
Eternal's so white.
But I did notice in the credits, Gemma Chan's name came first.
True, that is.
She was first up off the rank in the credits, so that was good for her.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the lead, though. Like,
yes.
Really, she is the POV for the 90% of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, but had this been made about 10 years ago, they would have snuck in Richard Madden as the first, and then Gemma Chan, even though she's the main POV character. So, small steps in progress, I think.
Yeah.
Don't they sometimes go in order of appearance these days?
Yeah. I don't know whether they have to announce that. I mean, crediting is such a weird thing.
Because it also depends what union you belong to as well.
Yeah, and there's that whole thing of whether you get an and or a with or a. Which
we're thinking David Tennant and Michael Sheen here, aren't we?
Well, yes. But my favorite podcast that I listen to, it's another film review show. They have this whole thing for a long time, which was the with game. But they changed it to being the but. So this is a movie with Gemma Chan and Richard Madden, but I don't know, somebody who was shit in the film, Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Harry Styles.
But Harry Styles, exactly. So yeah, I enjoy that kind of that game. Look, do we have anything will we go for a sequel? Will you watch a sequel?
Yes, because I'm an MCU fan. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna watch it, but I don't know if we'll get an Eternal specific sequel or if they're gonna pop up in other stuff. Just peripherally.
I think they're going to be like the Incredible Hulk and just be a co-star in everybody else's project.
I can imagine that. So you're not thinking that we're going to get Chloe Zhao's Eternals 2?
No.
I mean, the thing is, it's made a fuck ton of cash.
Good for them.
Yeah.
They need to pay the bills.
It's just whether or not, I think critically and audience-wise, it hasn't really kind of struck home.
I just wanted to give this movie a higher scoring because there were so many people out there hate bombing and hate scoring this movie because of the representation and because it wasn't faithful to the comics. And people just hate bombing and hate scoring the movie just out of spite and buddy.
Have you watched any of the previous movies that have been so faithful to the comics?
Oh, none of them have been.
That's my point.
I know, but
yeah. Look, and that is good of you to do, Rob, because yes, I think it was getting, even before release, it was getting fucking shat upon by the dipshit crowd who,
the uneducated masses.
Yeah. Oh no, that's a powerful sentence there from Vernufters. 3 misses in a row. What
were the other two? Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
What?
Black Widow? What were the
Wow.
other two? 'Cause
Yes.
I dug the last two.
Yeah. Big time. I enjoyed Black Widow. It does.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
not up to snuff.
Big call.
Right. I wasn't sure whether Shang-Chi was going to be my cup of tea. Turns out it was actually my cup of coffee that smacked me in the face, and I fucking loved it even more. So
It was my cup of jasmine tea, and I don't normally drink tea.
awesome. Well, look, thank you so much. I think we're going to leave it there. I think we've said about all we can say about Eternals. Any final things that need to be addressed before we wrap it up, Karina?
Just no to Harry Styles. Like I'm just gonna be no to Harry Styles for everything he shows up in. I'm just gonna be shaking my head the entire time.
He can get Star Foxed, right?
I like that. That's a good one.
Oh yes, I don't think I don't think the MCU version of Star Fox is going to be 100% faithful to the comic book version, because the comic book version has a very creepy power set that just does not belong in the modern world.
Okay, I'm going to go look that
And
up.
his 15-year-old fan base won't be into it.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Rob, anything to add? Any final thoughts?
No, just looking forward to seeing where Kit Harington turns up as the Black Knight, be it a new Blade project, be it some kind of Doctor Strange project, because that was my initial thought when I first heard the voice. I wasn't quite sure who it was. I was thinking, was that Benedict Cumberbatch? Was that Doctor Strange? Are we going to see the Black Knight in Multiverse of Madness? But then I learned otherwise who the voice actually was.
Yeah. At one point in time, it was actually going to be Benedict Cumberbatch. There are a lot of different options that they had, and they kind of went with the one that was an unusual choice.
Yeah.
Jill, final thoughts? Anything?
No, I'm just gonna go and watch Shang-Chi now.
Nice.
Oh, same.
You know what?
I'm pumped for Hawkeye, so he's my boy.
Oh,
Yep.
Yes.
I
2
went for
weeks.
Hawkeye.
2 more weeks. Yes.
2 weeks for a double episode.
Yep.
Yes. 2 weeks for Hawkeye, and then another 2 more weeks after that, and then we get some more Spider-Man. Yeah. So much stuff to watch this end of the year.
Oh, Book of Boba Fett coming out not soon after Hawkeye finishes.
29th of December.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
They teed it up. That's why they're playing 2 episodes of Hawkeye. So one finishes and then the next one begins.
So you never have to
So
give up
you
that
never
prescription.
leave.
Exactly. Come to us.
One of us forever. Lovely. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy
Thanks,
your
guys.
Friday night and enjoy your weekend. See you guys
Good night.
soon.
Bye.
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. Deep-powered girl keeps staring at her face, and call Colossus and have 'em teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guys. Martial arts from iron fist and wall. I'll dap her up and teach her all my songs. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not cooking up these heroes at my parents' restaurant now. I wanna yell out Avengers assemble, not order up for Ethel. Yeah, we're right up cheeky now. Date Emma Frost and have her read my mind. Or Magdalena, her artifacts I find, and then we catch a symphony. It'll just be her and me. Call Bucky Barnes and arm wrestle for hours. Visit MMA and bring her lots of flowers.